Hello everyone. Welcome back to this peaceful forest. Today, I begin a long-cherished dream. A small house combining the sturdiness of stone and wood. A safe haven, completely isolated from the city's smog. My two loyal four-legged friends will always be here with me. It all started with a barren plot of land and ideas in my head. Without elaborate blueprints, I let nature guide my hands. Let's take a deep breath and begin with the first stroke of the hoe. The stone wall gradually rose, enclosing the small living space. I paid particular attention to the fireplace, the heart of the house. The fireplace was not just for cooking, but also the soul of winter. The construction of the fireplace required careful consideration of air retention to prevent smoke. I chose the most sheltered corner of the house to begin building the fireplace. The first step was to create a separate, solid foundation, distinct from the wooden floor. Each large stone was carefully placed, each layer perfectly flat. I used clay mixed with water as a binder, as the ancients used to do. The stones were arranged alternately, the larger ones locking the smaller ones, creating a solid structure. The combustion chamber was precisely hollowed out to ensure a steady and safe fire. After resting by the fire, I began constructing the roof frame. I went deep into the forest to find two old, straight, heavy, and strong tree trunks. Not just any tree would do. I chose those that were old enough to thick grain and minimal warping wood to ensure the long-term durability of the structure. After cutting them down, I used ropes to drag each trunk back home. Each meter I dragged required a strain to maintain balance on the steep slope. Once the wood was brought back, I began stripping the bark to remove the rotten layer. The base of the pillars was lightly heated over a fire to prevent moisture and insect infestation. While waiting for the pillars to heat up, I prepared the timber for the roof. Two large logs were placed horizontally, directly connected to the front pillars. The roof gradually took shape, each row of logs arranged evenly, like the rhythm of the house's breathing. When the structure was strong enough, I began working directly on the roof. A dog also climbed up, as if wanting to help me inspect the construction. That moment showed the roof was strong enough to withstand the added weight. The next task was to adjust the protruding wooden nibs. I used a saw to cut away the excess, creating a straight roof line. Each cut made the roof neat and ready for the finishing touches. Once the roofline was straight, the overall structure of the house became clearly balanced. And this was the foundation for the next layers of protection above. After the grass roof was completely covered, I moved on to the next step. I shoveled fine soil and spread it evenly over the roof to press the grass down. The soil made the roof heavier, providing better insulation and less wind damage. But that wasn't enough to completely seal the surface. I mixed in some clay mortar and applied a layer to seal the roof. This layer made the roof surface a solid block, reducing slippage during rain. I smoothed it evenly, filling in small gaps to prevent water from seeping in. The surface had to be smooth enough for drainage, but still firmly hold the grass in place. Once the wooden tabletop was finished, I began preparing the tiles. The tiles, collected from the stream, were cut into neat squares. Cutting the tiles was time-consuming but resulted in a smooth and beautiful tabletop. I mixed the mortar and laid each tile onto the prepared wooden surface. Each tile was carefully aligned to ensure even grout lines. The layer of tiles transformed the wooden tabletop into a sturdy stone tabletop. The table is now durable enough to withstand sun and rain and will last a long time. In the middle of the porch, a wooden and stone table became the center of activity. Everything gradually came to life in a rustic yet very durable way. Next, I split large sections of the trunk in half to prepare the tabletop. The wooden planks are placed along the trunk, extending from the arched doorway. The long table is designed to seamlessly connect the space between the doorway, the tree, and the bed. I used only mortise and tenon joints, without any metal nails. Each mortise and tenon joint was hand-carved to ensure the pieces lock together securely. Once the structure is stable, the table becomes an integral part of the house. The final step is to cut away any excess joints and protruding edges. I adjusted the edges to make the table straight, neat, and easy to use. The finished table has a rustic yet unique look. The interior space now seamlessly integrates wood, light, and living space. Next, I started making the main door, one of the most important parts. I selected for sturdy, straight logs to make the load-bearing door frame. The frame was carefully aligned to ensure it was square and airtight. Then, I cut several short pieces of wood of equal length. These pieces of wood would form the main body of the door. I began mortising and cutting the joints by hand on each piece of wood. This work required patience to ensure the joints fit perfectly. Once the mortises were ready, I fitted each piece of wood into the door frame. The wooden pieces locked together without the need for metal nails. The next morning, the wind blew stronger, carrying the chill from the deep forest. I continued to refine the necessary items for life here. Today, I decided to make 2 chairs from old tree trunks. I went into the forest, selecting old, sturdy trunks of sufficient diameter. Using a saw and axe, I cut the trunks into 2 equal-sized sections. The thickness was calculated to be just right for a sturdy seat. The sections of wood were brought back near the house for further processing. I began mortising the underside of each section of wood. Simultaneously, I prepared smaller pieces of wood for the chair legs. I went into the forest to find a large, fallen tree trunk. The old, sturdy trunk was wide enough to make an outdoor lounge chair. I stripped off the bark to reveal the natural wood grain inside. The trunk was pulled back and placed right under the arch window in front of the house. The chair will be a place to sit and relax, overlooking the front porch. The backrest was made entirely by hand using mortise and tenon joinery. I chose small, curved logs to maintain their natural shape. The wooden planks were joined together to create a soft, curved backrest. Armrests were added to both sides of the chair for added comfort. Next, I began creating a gentle pathway through the front yard. I mixed the mortar to the right consistency, pliable enough to hold, to tile securely but easy to adjust. The tiles were prepared beforehand, chosen in harmonious sizes and colors. Before laying, I sprinkled water evenly on the ground to ensure sufficient moisture. The damp ground helps the mortar adhere better and prevents it from absorbing water too quickly. I started laying the tiles in a naturally curving path. The path isn't straight, but follows the contours of the yard, creating a gentle feel. Each tile was rotated and adjusted to fit the overall curve. After finishing the swing, I began preparing for the long night ahead. Darkness descends quickly in the forest, and light is essential. I gathered scraps of cloth and small, dry branches to make makeshift torches. One end of each torch was sharpened for easy placement in the ground. The other end was wrapped in cloth for ignition. I placed the torches around the house in a protective circle. When lit, the flames created a warm and reassuring atmosphere. This light helped dispel the darkness and kept the forest at a safe distance. The fire burned steadily, the glowing embers warming the space around the house. After a long journey, this meal held a very special meaning. With the food cooked, I and my loyal friends began a dinner in the mountains. I enjoyed the grilled meat, hot potatoes, and homegrown tomatoes. The fresh tomatoes were washed, juicy, and full of the earthy flavor of the forest. Each flavor was connected to the hard work of the past days. In my new home, I feel a profound sense of contentment and peace. No need for extravagance, just handcrafted and slow-paced living. The house wasn't just built, it was nurtured every day. Thank you for accompanying me on this journey. If you enjoy a life close to nature, please stay tuned to my channel. And now, goodbye and see you again on my next trips and stories.